listen neighbor me Mong do yes when I rebel out say No so no linga the night some yeba Young Chide Manapia wait over each other She may alone that we net the chance of Japa the Kuro Juya may among the lint type poema just so damn shibu the Jare Bekan is in the Bame Mount 2 years no I rebel out Jesus No so not ling other night as a nearby Young Chile Manapia away over The Yare Bekan is in the Rame Mount 2 years when I rebel out Jesus
Good
morning. I would like to welcome you all to the People's Soldiers Talk Show that we organize every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Myanmar time, and we hope that all the people of the revolutionary people of Myanmar are staying healthy and safe. So we are now on the 17th episode of the People's Soldier Talk Show. It has been a 17th week, and we have been trying to cover a variety of different topics so that the People's Soldier who are standing by the people and that and the civilian people, as well as that activists, and we have been discussing and a broad range of topic as well. My name is Thinzar Shunlei. I'm a democracy activist, and I'll be moderator for today's talk show. Now we are at the springtime. That in the spring times we have like before we even during this Christmas time, the Myanmar SAC terrorist military hunter has been committing war crimes against the people of Myanmar. Despite the Christmas times, despite the holidays, and that since the holidays where people should be able to enjoy the time with their family, the fighting has not stopped, the violence has not stopped. So people are not standing by them, and that people, we cannot also stop as well. So that's why, despite the challenges, we are also pushing forward to organize the talks as well. That because of the conflict, because of the conflict situation, that that speakers as well as on the People Soldier have been very busy with all the conflict happening in the different areas, and we know we are also like to thank for our loyal followers who have been waiting for us for the talk show, and then we had a week where we had to stop for a week, but we are back online, and thank you for joining us once again. And that People Soldiers has been something that as we also like to invite the activists, democracy activists, and those who have been these people. I would like to do this discussion working activists since they are very young and they are very deeply involved in the political activism as well. So that the topic today is, as we have shared on our pages as well, like what will be that we need, what do we need to dismantle to be able to achieve this union, because whatever action we do, it depends on the thought pillars or the ideological pillars. So when it comes to that, that when it's come to changing the mindset, changing the thought pillars, we need to understand also clearly what we need to dismantle and what we need to establish. And that's why we are organizing such workshops. We also have here our panelists will be joining us for the session. Firstly, first person I would like to introduce is Teu from the AASYC, and then we have Jewel from the member of the Generous Right Committee. Jewel, and another person is from the Corporal Zia, who is a member of the People Soldiers team. So these will be three who will be joining as well. Corneling, we have invited Corneling, but he has a technical issue, so he is not able to join us. So please bear with us. We have invited him, and he had difficulty in joining us. So we'd like to start with the questions. First, I would like to give the chance to Kozia to ask you. Kozia, good morning to you. Is Kozia attending? Kozia lost connection once again, so please bear with us. So we'd like to go to the second question. I would like to invite Majuel. So Majuel, good morning. As a representative of the Generous Right Committee, or the GSC, and you're actively working on it, as well as a youth, as a woman leader, and as a member of the Generous Right Committee. So then our question is that what are the enemy thought pillars that need to be dismantled for the union to become implemented? So how do you understand union as a youth? And in the past, we have in the past also, last year this time we had we are over 4,000 IDPs. Our IDPs have to run away, and that it also have happened. That we all know that this year also we have a lot of newly displaced people, because IDPs and the armed conflict is not new to Myanmar. So I would like to first ask you, how do you see union, and how did you see the past fightings happen? My name is Jewel, and I'm a member of the Generous Right Committee. So to respond to your question, and that I will be discussing from my own perspective, my own individual perspective as well, that when we look at how do you see union, and how do you also see the past conflict, there have been a lot of fightings before, I still remember the textbooks when they say that union is a place where all the ethnic communities live together and depend on it. That was only in the textbooks, but that's also only covered in the newspapers. But however, the communities have always been victims of violence, as well of the armed conflict, so that it is as if there always has been propaganda and saying the ethnic armed organization are hurting the people, and it is only the Tamara who is saving that. And that has been a prevalent propaganda all around the world. Even when I was young, even when the teachers or some of the students, and they will always say that there were always more different forms of discrimination about the ethnic communities. And when you are children, you are fighting each other, that they will say that I've seen that they would always blame the ethnic community, and because of the success of the very deep-rooted propaganda run by the military. And a union, it should also be a place of all different ethnic groups. There are also differences between the different of the ethnic community as well. That military is one of the armed forces. It is also important that military is to protect the people from the enemies, from the enemies, from the outside. The military that needs to not to be ethnocentric. It cannot be racist. So it has to be democratic. The role of the military is not to be part of the not of the part of the politics, and that military they just carry out their duties of security. They don't do that. They want to they want to be in politics. They want to manipulate. They want to control. They want to exploit Myanmar for their elite community, for their very small handful of people and the generals and their families to take benefit from it. So in Myanmar, I think we don't have the time that actually the notion of a union has not existed in Myanmar for over 70 years, because we have under be control under the military. The military present here is merely an organization that is using weapons and that is using their power to abuse the people, oppress the people. And if you ask them whether are they in profession, are they in line with the roles they're supposed to do, they don't. And that they will often, claim that they want peace and they are working for peace. They love to claim that they are peaceful, but they are the ones who are pushing for the armed conflict. They are the ones who are studying the armed conflict. And that if the ethnic community try to fight back against their military offense, and they would say that they would announce publicly in the newspapers that the community are being they always will be they will always get the information. They would isolate them. We don't really have unity between the ethnic communities and local community, and they don't want unity. They don't want the community to be understood, the challenge to be known publicly. I have ethnic friends. They are not violent. They are not insurgents. And then when we talk with each other, they will explain what really happened to them and who really are the villains are. But we did never know about them. We only hear from them individually. So it was also difficult for the ethnic communities to know about their sufferings and oppression and suppressions they have suffered under the military. So they are not able to reach out every do that. And they will often differentiate and say that mountainous areas and urban areas or the central plainlands. In the mountain areas, they will kill whatever they want to. There are a lot of the arbitrary arrests and killings, and they will also burn down. They will also loot the assets as well. And that is also happening. That has been happening for the past many years, and that they would also continue to do that. They are still continue to do that. It is important for us to know that that's what the other communities are suffering from, and they have been suffering for it for many years. During the revolution, we're able to see that what is happening. We're able to see the violence they have been suffering from, the oppression, that the political process or the peace process, the military is a way of sort of like pacifying so that they will not lose their hold on the power. What the ethnic communities are asking for, the federal democracy, is that they have never recognized it. They have never wanted to give it. So that it is important that now that we had, that's why in the revolution we have pushed for the abolishment of the constitution, for the building of the federal democracy. These are the principles that we are working on, and that's why we are part of the revolution. That's what we are fighting for. As for the war or the conflict, some of the people, some of the elderly community, they know about it. They know about how unfair the military, how oppressive the military. They also know what the revolution they're really fighting for. But people have been so much under the fear of the military. They have been crushed under the military for many, many years. Although they see the youth are trying, but the fear is so overwhelming that the fear is immense, such immense sentiment that they will say that okay, you shouldn't send your junior children to the strike. You shouldn't children to be part of the demonstration as well. I have heard it. I have seen it as well. And that when I was in the demonstration, I was leading, and they were those people who know me will go to my family and say that, well, your daughter, she's just a girl, and she should not be in the front line. She should not be raising the chants. She should not be raising part of the revolution. That she's just a woman. She should be staying. That's part of of their fear for the future of the youth, and that they also partly because of the misperception, as well as the propaganda and the fear, because it is important that we cannot distinguish men or women or young men or young boy, that young girls, that it is a girl or women should not be staying inside for the revolution. It is important we all work together. I think some of this prejudice and that this kind of misperceptions, we need to change it. If everyone can contribute, everyone will play their role, we are getting closer to achieving the goal of the revolution. Thank you, Jewel, for sharing. Is that Jewel, you have shared about it in the past when you have seen non-Burma ethnic communities being discriminated, and what you have learned about the efforts that they have been in, and that as well that and that you have seen that happen to your friends, and you also have mentioned that you never been part of the discriminatory effort as well. That when you talk about the union, the what to be able to talk about the union, there have always been that you are also seeing cases of discrimination in different parts of in work and in schools, and it is also a very difficult. Another point you also mentioned is about the fear. The fear is that the fear is also a thought pillar that is built by the enemy. They want people to be fearful, and that the fact that when you have a young woman like Jewel try fighting against resistance, you also share about it and facing the fear as well as on the pressures related to that as well. Thank you for sharing, Jewel. Thank you for sharing what you believe in, and I'm very proud to have you here on the panel. And that these points you have shared are important for the building of the federal union. That before you understand that you know about it, but you never had a chance to speak up. Now you have youth like Jewel who are also speaking up and holding out. So I think Gozia is not yet here, so I would like to give a turn to Ting. Ting, my question to you is based on your experience, and that you know that Myanmar has in the past 10 years, Myanmar has spent millions of dollars in the peace process, where they were where they had shake hands with the military and try to achieve peace. Ethnic leaders have tried it. There was a nationwide ceasefire agreement, or the NCA, and after 10 years of the NCA, now the military has attempted the coup, and the people are resisting the coup. It's been 11 months after the attempted coup that the coup has not been successful. The military has not achieved. That's one part. On the other part, also our goal and our dream of the federal union, where is it now? How do you see it? Yeah, based on you, could you also share about your experience as Arakanese? How do you see the current situation? Thank you. Firstly, so I was honored to be part of the People's Talk, and thank you for inviting me to this talk show. So I think the topic itself is also very interesting. You said about how do you see the word union, that the union, the term, I like it, that you as organizer, you talk about the point of the union. For a union to happen, union is a coming together of different nations. So when we say that when we have like ethnic communities which are in states, and that the states, we may call them Myanmar as a union, but it's not yet a union itself. But the organizers, thank you for bringing up this topic as a topic of discussion, because for the union to happen, that it is important that different nation states will need to come together to establish the union. That's how I interpret it anyway, and that this something is very close to our way of thinking as well, because in the past, in the peace process, so we have we have a Rakhine State national policy drafting committee. It's a committee where we have all the different AASYC groups about the Rakhine were part of it, and we started to develop it. And that we had to say that we talk about the term rather than using state, we want to say the nations. Union is a place where the different nations come together. So it's more than the state we consider in. That's how the term we have choose in our drafting process as well. So when the organizers using the like Pitangsu is a different different nations coming together is I think is a great way of framing it. If you look at the past 10 years, but 10 years military had the way how the military had behaved, how the military had participated in the peace process, as well as and what was the result that were achieved. If we look at it from our perspective, the peace process at the time that started from the same government it started with the UNFC, and that they had discussion with there was a peace talk with UNFC, and then you have the NLD government from the UDC, and then the NLD government. About nearly 10 years of peace talks have taken place there. That there were also a lot of Union Peace Conference. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were about 5 sessions of the Union Peace Conference as well. And that if you look at it from the non-Burma ethnic groups as well, that it is not inclusive, and that and also that that the results where the ethnic there has been ethnics are really want federalism, but that the result did not get the federal principles that ethnic communities are asking for. And this happened for many reasons. There were many reasons to why that results were not achieved. If we look at the role of the military was there as a key actor, and that it was also it never compromise whatever topics happening, that they already had their own policies and principles upon which they would contribute to the dialogue. Based on that, ethnic communities are asking about it, that sometimes there are like that civilian that sometimes you talk with, sometimes there are talks you have to do, so that sometimes the communities have ethnic leaders have to discuss with also separately literally with the military, and that military should not be. Military has nothing to do with the politics, and that it became an actor. It remained as a key stakeholder in the peace process, and that they were the key in terms of decision making as well. If they don't agree, if the military doesn't agree, then in the negotiation process, then the ethnic communities and the civilian government, ethnic organizations, civilian government, then if they have reached an agreement, it doesn't work, and they cannot get it because military will stop that. And that so the government also have to look to the military. What if they agree? Well, the military agree or not? There are always holding back. There was a situation where they have to hold back. Both parties have to help because of the military. How we are seeing is that the military doesn't want peace. That was very clear. They didn't want peace but they didn't want, what I mean by they didn't want peace, they didn't want a genuine federal union, because the way they have framed is that the way they want is that they want to have a military, the terminal, they call themselves the terminal, and the way they have formed it is that only it will only be it is with the Burmese extremism, that ethnocentric extremism, nationalism, as well as they only the intention is to protect their interests. The role of the military is that it's not to also to in a way, military is not an institute to protect the defense institute to protect the people, but to protect their interests, and that nationalism, the patriotism of Myanmar. So it is an institution that is brainwashed to that's Burma centralism. So they don't want the genuine federalism to take place. They cannot. They don't want to. And that so that's what in every dialogue there is with the ethnic communities, and that it doesn't matter that they will always say no, they will always deny what the ethnic community have asked for. When the ethnic communities have asked for the peace process, that the biggest challenge was the framework. The political dialogue framework was the biggest challenge. That that political dialogue framework was very much there were a lot of deadlocks, that the framework itself was problematic, and that that in the peace talks, and that there were also decision making as well. So every decision making was based on that, based on the framework, only on based on the framework that they organized, that the decisions were made. So the framework itself, was very difficult. So there was no agreement was reached. You're gonna reach because of the because of the lack of agreement, that also have some of the from the ethnic organization going along with this and refused to. So in the end, there was no result. There was no concrete result, and that what led to the coup in the late 2020. So the role of the military, the nature of the military, the position of the military is very clear. That the Myanmar, there's a union, that the Myanmar as a country belongs to them, or is their territory, and this their territory. It doesn't have to do with, it doesn't have anything to do with any community. It doesn't matter, and the community have how control territory, but they should be able to go wherever they want to, and that's their supreme power, and that's the mindset. That's their mindset. It doesn't matter which part of the Myanmar, which it doesn't matter how many ethnic communities control. They should be able to go freely wherever they want to, and that's their mindset, and that's how they are going for it. So that's why also they should be able to go into. So even if there are bilateral agreement, they will go into the bilateral like ethnic control area, and there were also fighting had happened even in the bilateral ceasefire agreement. That's their mindset. The main thing is that they don't have a federal mindset. They don't have a federal way of thinking. That so they don't have a federal conception. They don't agree, and they don't accept, and that's one lead to a lot of problems. So to give you to summarize it, that so there was a peace process. They started a peace process, but when they started that peace process, their intention is that for them to steal the public resources, and that because these process, the peace process also gave them an opportunity to launder the money, to launder the illegitimate money that they have. So in the past 10 years, they also get them a delay at some time as well. The time they were able to take in, they were able to launder the money, as that they want to legitimate the illicit money, so that that will also give them a consolidate their financial power and the economic power through this peace process opportunity, and the time for them to launder the money, to do money laundering. And that's why they will not accept the result of the 2020 election, and they have attempted the coup in 2021. I think because in the peace process, military was the biggest obstacle, and that although civilian government was willing to engage, it was even when they were willing to do reform, but they couldn't because of the military. Military was the biggest obstacle for the peace process. Thank you, Godeu. And I was listening to you in the past 10 years, and it was a lot of civil organizations like human rights activists, like like you and others have. I also remember what a different organization has been talking about in the past 10 years. It doesn't matter what is happening. It doesn't matter which events have taken place, how peace process are taken in. I think it goes to the mindset. As long as the mindset is there, the mindset is not changing, then there will always be deadlock, and it will be difficult to move forward as well. And that there is also there are differences in terms of position. You can also have different position, but the mindset is important. There should be the federal mindset, and that's something military is lacking. And that we also have discussed a lot that military consider themselves the masters. They themselves the master of all this survey, and that they would look down on the non-Burma ethnic groups, and that they were not considered as a co-founders of the union. They don't consider as co-founders. Then we are the masters of federalism and democracy, and they consider as big brothers, and they would always discriminate and look down on others. It doesn't matter hundreds of billions of the hundreds of millions of just has been spent, or the dollars has been said, doesn't matter. So I think it is also important that we need to look back on the situation, that our ideas, our mindset should not be the thought pillars of the military, that the funds that we have. that the tax that we pay should not be go into the pocket of the military, should go into the assets of the military. At the same time, we also to make sure that our children, that our youth must be, we must always remind ourselves that we should not be brainwashed by the military. And that's why we are inviting different panelists to remind ourselves of this. And that Godeu also have shared about it. Thank you very much for sharing. That also gave us an important reminder of the brain. So please, we're coming back to you again. We also like to welcome people to, also the listeners, to join us. We all get different opinions, because that's all part of the democracy, genuine democracy, to be able to share different opinion as well. I would like to invite now Kozia, if you are here. Yes. Good morning. Sorry, my internet have a some difficulty earlier to join. No problem. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for that also to sharing as well. So my first question to you, Kozia, is you are a soldier and you have served, and then you have served many years in the military. So how do you understand the term Pirangsu or the union? So it's just not what you knew now. As a soldier, how do you see union, and how does your comrades, your brother in arms also think about union, think about the term union before? Well, union for us is a word. When I was in the military, well, that we don't know that the union we know is that the only what we know is the non-disintegration of the union. We don't understand the essence of it. I didn't understand the essence of it, and also my that 90% of the 90% of them of the fellow soldiers don't understand, because if we understand that, this will not happen. That the ethnic the civil war with ethnic communities will not happen either, because I myself I came from the Air Force, from the Yangon Regional Command, and that's how where I have left it. I was in the Air Force, so I was also in the I've attended joint military training where you have the Army, Air Force, and Navy all joined together. So at the Air Force, I also stay inside the Air Force Command as well, and also I also was in a joint military command where you have the Army, Navy, and Air Force. So when we listen to, I was also able to learn about that from my brothers and from the Army, how they think about it, how they react. What I want to say is that most of us only know about the three major tasks. I know we have to always be swearing our allegiance, and then the three main tasks, and that's what always our seniors always say at the public meeting, dabas, or whenever the hot talk shows on that. Our duty, our terminal is protecting the three main tasks, but the union, is what we never had. There never has been explanation about the union. We don't know about the essence of these. What are the essence of it? We don't understand. They don't explain. I don't think, probably I would say that they don't also understand either, because they don't understand, because for them is that the military leadership, current military leadership, is that they are not they don't have that they don't have the ideas. They were all the generation of those who were brainwashed into the ideas as well. So they think that they think what they are doing is right, what they are doing is because they have been brainwashed into believing all that. Some people might have more ideas, more thinking, but they know, but despite the knowledge, but they only want to do what they for their own interest. Some are deeply brainwashed, so they don't understand about the term. They don't explain to us. We don't understand as well. So for us, it's majority of the soldiers will not understand. So there will be a few minorities who will be able to go beyond that, and that if you have then that who understand that those, so that's why I think that's why there are a few of them said you have soldiers and that officers who are able to leave as well. That's because we want to do that, but it's not that we don't know much. That the why in the military we didn't really get a chance to know about it. The nature of the military itself, that you just follow orders, you eat what you are given, you accept what you are given, and that's how they are. We don't really know that because even if you know the knowledge, even if you have the abilities, you are not allowed to go beyond what are being your order to. You just follow orders. You don't say anything, you don't talk, but you just follow. I have only 8 years. 8 years in the military. I spent I joined military in 2000, 2013. So I was born under the military regime. I grew up under the military when I joined the military, and that was in 2013. So that was what 25% of the military when they started started the quasi civilian government. So I joined. So I didn't know much about it at all at that time. So no, though I like others, that's what your sister has shared. She was able to learn in the past 10 years. I think you are also able to, compare to us, you are able to enjoy the freedom of democracy. We didn't have that because even in the transition period, and I ended up in the military, so that I spent that time under the military, and that also to be able to I didn't able to get a chance of it, a little bit of democracy that people were able to enjoy. We didn't get it because I was in the military. A joke we often say that the generals, and that then the commander in chief will often say that they will say that democracy, federalism, that he will say that, but he doesn't. That they will say like what they said, they understand for the democracy. Have they ever joined it? Because I think he is in I think he joined the DSA after the second year student. That was he grew up under the socialist period, and socialist period is even if you have a lot of there was no access to information, there was lack of knowledge. Myanmar was completely blocked out from outside information. He joined from the university. He was in the DSA. He was brainwashed inside in the DSA. So how can he say that he understand? If he understand that the real practice of democracy, then in that he would install the democracy. He would make us into a professional army. That the lack of knowledge, the military is an institution that is corrupted by them because of their ideology, because their way of thinking. That the officer, that of the mindset of the those are the almost at the retirement. Hold on, their ways of thinking are not beyond the 1988, 1990. That's how they are. They don't want to go beyond that. And for us, is we are that our mindset stops there, and that only when we leave and that we have been left behind, we start to see that we have left behind, and that we were in a we're in a like a big fish in a very small pond. We never get any benefit of the democratic transition. I don't think they understand anything, because if we look at what we are seeing, we were in the military, we were there, and I'm sure that those who are listening to us will understand. If you are from different comments, and you will also know that those that we call them, they call us deserters, but we are not. They will say that that because we desert because we don't have a good discipline and good mindset. It's not that we don't have good discipline or we don't have the mindset, and because of their lack of discipline, because of their corruption, because of that what they are not doing what they should be, and that's why we have left as well. So that if they are the professional army, they claim like a U.S. army, if they have no interference in the politics, and that even the president, when the president call for and say that the Ministry of Defense will say that it is not our mandate, it is not, we will not act in the local domestic affairs. And if we have that kind of professional army, everybody will stay there. I would not also join it there, because if there was without the coup, and I was going to I don't have a university degree. I want to study. I want to begin a military. I want to hold in the military affairs in other countries. But because of the interest of a one person, because they have to sacrifice the lives of the people. They have sacrificed also the lives of the soldier. They have sacrificed the terminal. So we don't have. Right now, we have no ambition, we have no expectation, we have just joined the outside world. So we have no expertise, we have no knowledge, we don't know yet. So that's what has been, they have sacrificed as well. Thank you. So Kozia has been very honest and say that he doesn't know and that he doesn't understand. But when we're listening to him, I think most of the people agree that Kozia, your mindset, your way of thinking is shows very clearly is much higher than that of the generals, and that also shows clearly that he knows that he doesn't know that whatever activities, actions, it comes from the mindset. It is important to change the mindset. They also understand the broader opinion. So I would like to add you follow a question, Kozia, that people of Myanmar know that now is a Christmas time, and that for the Christian community, Christmas is an important time. It also happened last year as well, and that they were fighting in the Christmas time, and that nowadays in the Fruso, I think there has been a cases of people who were burned alive as well, and that there's a kind where the military choppers were deploying, a lot of civilians were indiscriminately killed in the Kenyan Legeko area. There have been airstrikes by their military choppers. So you have been in the Air Force. So how do you feel that when this is happening on the ground? What do you think? What is the message do you want to give to the people? So when I was in the military, when I was in the Air Force, when they go and kill the people, I really feel bad, that. But nowadays, I don't even look at those photos because it's really that big. Because I try to forget that I don't watch the images because I cannot restrain myself. I will cry because literally that would really make me sad, so that I cannot really take these airstrikes and attacks. So I don't try to do that. I see them, I hear them, and I try to not to think about them because I cannot help. I cannot do anything to help them. So for me, is that just have anger, frustrations, and the sadness. So that's the only thing we can do. But some of them are very, very, it's like they are heartless. They are like robots and they don't think about it. There are people who inside the Air Force, they don't like that. They are like that because they have their own family, because these people will only think about their own family, and they lack compassion, they lack empathy, they lack mercy, they lack humanity. The only thing they care about is their family. When I look at their action, is like just disgusting. It's inhumane. There are also code of conduct for the soldiers we have to follow. Let's say if I met an insurgent, then I will fight. That if a person insurgent has surrendered, then we don't have the right to shoot him. Or because of the Geneva Convention or to the code of conduct, you cannot harm the other person who have surrendered because it hinders on your dignity. When you are fighting a war as a soldier, you have to be clear that this war is based on the political reason, because of the system, and that we don't have personal hatred, we don't have personal feelings. Even if you capture president, they are prisoners of war, and they may follow procedures. However, when you see this kind of atrocities that's happening, this is not just that we are not talking about insurgents, we're not talking about rebels. What is happening, I'm sure you already have experience. There has been a killings that people who are running away, and those running away, you are shooting them from the back, shooting from the behind. That's impossible. That you are not even shooting in the air, and these people were never taught, and they were not given. But I think it's the most responsible are the officers, the supervisors who are important. It's the military commanders have the responsibility for not controlling it. I think the reasons are that, like I was saying, in Myanmar has been under the brainwash, under the propaganda for the education is also very low. That military is enslaving the people, like because this came from Unewe, and for the former dictator with the brainwash kind of education system, who doesn't control, which doesn't give us opportunity to learn about this. So that's why there is a very little knowledge. There is going to be, I like reading, I try to read reading. They don't encourage reading, they don't let people to know. I like both reading romance. I was reading, and then also really get it. Sometimes I will even cry while reading the books, and for me that is an opportunity for me to learn to be compassionate. See, I will not say no, and that's why I also have joined the CDM movement. But for me, I think just share with you, I'm joining the CDM. I'm not involved in the fighting. It's because I think I'm psychologically I'm not ready to get back into the fighting as well. So Kosea, the fact that you are here you are showing your video and you are sharing experience, this is part of the fight. So because fighting can take place in different ways. The fact that you are participating in this discussion, you're also sharing your opinion. This is, I will consider, is part of your fight too. And also about the tears.
ဒါလူသားဆန်ဖို့ခေါ်ညွှန်းတဲ့ကိန်းကနန်းဟိုပါပေါ့နော်ဒီကိန်းညွှန်းတစ်ခုဟုတ်တယ်အခုလိုမျက်
I
ရည်
would say the tears are just being part of their humanity, that it is important to be logical, that when you have people who don't shed tears, who don't shed tears, who don't feel anything, and that is a lack of humanity. So people are also encouraging you as well. We have seen a lot of comments as well.
စစ်တပ်ဘက်ကဒီအကြမ်းဖက်အားပေးဖက်စစ်အားပေးဟိုရှိနေတယ်အများကြီးဝင်ပြီး comment တွေရေးနေကြတယ်
So there are also a lot of people from the military side, and they were saying that they are also saying that a lot of comments, a lot of negative comments about you from the military side as well. You know, what you have shared is about the humanity. What is important is humanity. Zia is a real person. He is a soldier who has joined the side. He has been talking about humanity, being human, and that's part of being is as well. And that's the big major differences between us and between us and the others. And so we are human, so we hold on to the humanity. We are commanded to be, as Zia has reminded us of how important we are to remain human, to remain compassionate, to remain to embrace the feelings. So we'd like to go to the next topic, and then thank you for the people for sharing us and give us comments. I'd like to invite Medjewel once again. So in the General Strike Committee, you are participating in the General Strike Committee as a woman, as a youth, also have explained about your experience as well. Can Joel? Yes, we can hear you now. So I would like to, so what kind of, what is the message you want to give? Can you also share about the message you want to give to the other women, other youth of your age? What mindsets need to be changed? Jewel, I think she lost connection. So while we are waiting for Jewel to join us, I would like to give the floor to Sia Teung. It's been 10 months of revolution. In the past 10 months, we have like an institution like NUCC and NUG as well. And that these institutions and that why is NUCC important? What are the thought pillars we are trying to replace? What kind of infrastructure is still needed? Because you have been studying about the federalism and that and also asset leadership. What kind of mindset we need to build? Can you also share? Thank you. So when we talk about building the federal union, and that the mindset, what mindset needs to need it, also what kind of ideological pillars do we need to target? I think that of the enemy. If we look at it, I think firstly I would like to say that let's say that NUCC, under the NUCC, there are a lot of discussions going on about for the federalism as well, and that as well that there has always been in Rakhine as well. So our group A for our AASYC, we look at the federal. How can, when we look at the politics of Myanmar, when we look at the political issue of Myanmar, what will be the way for us to resolve the political crisis in Myanmar? We look at it and we see that there's genuine federal union will be a way forward to resolve the political issue. So that was one option we can choose, and that with that we have as our organization, our organization, what do you say that in the Myanmar political crisis has been, there are different ways, there are among different ways we can resolve the political crisis. Federal union and federal building is one of the ways to resolve the conflict as well. That's what we believe in. So while we are trying to build the federal union, when we think about building the federal union, then we have to think about that in Myanmar, the union, the word union also come from the federal union. But the federal is that how does a federal came into it, and how is a federal established? I think it is important to see that it goes beyond that, not just enemies ideological pillar, but beyond the military. I think it is so important, not just the military, not just the military ideology, but also the majority Burma people will also need to understand the essence of the federal union. In Myanmar, we have the federal union, we have the military supporters, we have the NLD supporters, we also have the like BNS, and we have like a People Party. There are also different Burma, there are some major mainstream political parties, and they also need to understand clearly what is federalism, what is the federal structure, what is the federalism. And they also need to understand that how we understand federalism is that the federal is of the different federal units. Different federal units come together to establish a union based on the interest. They came together to implement their common interests. That's the federalism, and that's the concept we need to understand. That Rakhine, and we have the Kachin, you have the Burma, and you have the Kachin, you have the Shan, all different ethnic groups, all different states come together with a common interest as a federal union, asset that we establish a union, we establish a nation, coming from there. So there are no masters. Their ownership belongs to all. The ownership is not just to the Burma, not just to the Rakhine, not just to the king. That it concerns to all. That the federal units have their ownership, and that it is more of a collective ownership, and that how it is that. So it is important that most majority people will need to understand, as well as those of the military, also those that the general leadership will need to understand that concept. The ownership belongs to all, not just the people of Myanmar, but also that major mainstream political parties also need to understand, like NLD also will need to understand that too. NLD party members, NLD supporters, NLD party leadership will, and the supporters will need to understand the concepts. Is important that if it is not that when you look at all the military could simply name it federal, and they say it's federalism, say that we own all the land, we own all the territory, and that when the ethnic community asks for a right to self-determination, and that the right for asking for self-determination is the governing Burma. It's like they are like, we are asking for inheritance. That's how Burma people see it, that we are asking for the inheritance. No, that it is that they are asking, that the fact that they are asking for self-determination, are thinking like they think about dividing the inheritance, and that's what we are seeing it as well. There's some of the, and the kind of idea, the kind of thinking should also need to be changed. That also is how people see it. The mindset change is important. That is the biggest obstacle for it. I think most Burma people tend to have this kind of idea, this kind of thinking. That thinking need to be changed. It's not just inside the military. Another is that the word federal is we are using very broadly in the with the Spring Revolution. After the Spring Revolution, the word federal democracy, or that federal union, the word is very widely used and widely supported, and people have people understand. People start to understand. They understand that they have the idea that we want to build a federal union, but there is that the word is there, but after beyond that, in the implementation of the federal union, to be able to establish as a federal union, what needs to be there, what is required, I think is all still missing. That the minority areas, ethnic areas, how they will be able to govern themselves, and then how the powers will be shared or distributed. This kind of idea, major Burma people will also need to understand that the federalism is not just beyond a bit. We are media federalism. So people now understand understand that we agree and we accept we need federalism. So there is the mindset there. A lot of people understand that we need federalism, we need to build it. But in terms of implementation, however, that there are many challenges. There will be many challenges, and there are many challenges. And it is also important for us to understand as well that, let's say that non-Burma, like that EAOs or the UNFC as well, that or that FVNCC, or like when you look at the different collectives who have been working together for the federalism, they have clear principles. How do we want to establish the federal union? The UNFCC, they have like 6 principles like that about the building of the federal union as well, and all these are there. And they also have others also have these federal principles too. So if you look at it broadly, there are different principles that, again, there are major principles that has been officially announced, and that for the non-Burma ethnic communities, they already have ideas on that how they want to do that. So they have already worked on it. But however, in among the Burma people, Burma people talk about it, but at the same time, how the federal union will be established, what will be the mindset, what will be the thinking, and that when it comes to it, what will be done, how it will be done. We don't see that kind of a detailed discussion on from the Burma side, like what will be the principles. We don't see it yet. Like especially you have like NLD party, like which influence a lot of Burma people, and that those do have a lot of supporters, and they also inside the NLD itself. When it comes to federal, we don't see clearly about the policy for it. We haven't seen it so far. So that's why, and also is that non-Burma ethnic groups are also in a way. That's why also when they may be going together, they may working together. Like you have like NUCC is a platform, like Shunlei, you have mentioned in the federal. There were also topics of the federal democracy charter that are being discussed. But I think it is that there you need a lot of trust. Either you go for the NUCC or either for it federalism. There is need to have a trust among the people with the unique identities, with the unique when you have the majority Burma as well as the non-Burma and the minorities. When it is important to do a lot of trust building, and that the trust building is that how well that it also depends on that ethnic side. It is very clear. They make it very clear how would they want to build the federal union, what needs to do in it from the Burma majority, from the Burma parties, Burma political parties, and that the influential political mainstream parties will also need to understand, to share also their own idea of how they want to build their position, or how they want to federalism. I think that is also needing. If they do that, if they can do that, then that will also give us a chance for the that will also be able to understand the policy, and they will also help with the trust as well. So and that there may be NUCC. There are a lot of topics being discussed in the NUCC, but that I think it is it is a collective discussion. It's not the position of the individual. What else we discuss in the NUCC is a collective discussion. Though there's no, if you were to, I think that then it is what, it doesn't matter how good the policies are for the federal union in the NUCC, but individual organization will need to have their own clear policy on federalism, especially in the Burma political parties like NLD party, which is a mainstream and that large influence on the people. It is important to have a clear policy on that commitment, to say that that to make it publicly to the ethnic community, so the ethnic will also to understand that this is what people can show a clear way. I think that will also say that this is their political commitment, this is their federalism, that will also help build better the trust building as well, that will also have a strengthen on the in terms of commitment as well. I think that will also really help us build the trust building at the union level. Thank you, Ting as well. So I think Sia has there is a time limit, and that during a short time. But I think that is these ideas, these way of thinking, are not easy, and they are not easily shared because it needs also have the courage, technology, and experience. Based on that, then also thank you for sharing that, and we respect that, and we listen in respect, and that it is also important that we also need to share. We also like to request all of you to share with others as well. So we are at a certain time in the day. So I would like to invite the two speakers to get your recommendations as well for the GSC. GSC has been working on a lot of, despite the challenges, you have been working on the strikes on the ground. So as Siama, you will have the experience and work on the ground. We also like to listen to what what the Kozia would like to say. So I would like to invite Majua, if you're back. What is your recommendation? What's your message to the people who are listening to you? For me, that people are very accountable. People has been joining the resistance. They are being like they have participated in the silent strike as well. Even in the silent strike, even the community who are in a great difficulty, they are also joining as well. Like whenever we also ask for the public strike, and people are asking for it, people are hitting their pots and pans, and in terms of thinking, people have ideas have changed as well. So they hate that military dictatorship. It's nearly 1 year now that the coup has happened, but the people are standing strong for us, and that's also have shown us clearly as well that people have thinking and idea have also have changed as well. That's why we also seeing that people are standing together, because it has a large impact also on that military economic assets have been destroyed. So military is trying to use their fear to be able to control it. We are almost at the end of the revolution. The fight that we have fought, every one of them, we are all fighting for the future. We are looking at the lives that has been sacrificed. We are working we'll be able to continue with a clear way of thinking, and it is important that we also need to build for the democracy. We need Myanmar to become a country of equality and equal rights, and that so we are also seeing that that there are more challenges into organizing the strikes. There has been more like the CCTV. There has been more control as well. That to be able to, when we went into the ground, and that on the grass, we are all of us are facing uncertainty. And we organize the strike is because when you say that we are against the military hunter, it's not just about we have to go in on the. You don't have to join the protest physically on the ground and then joining the boycotting the military businesses and the military products. It's also a way to contributing to the revolution. You don't have to be physically on the streets to join us. We also have a new strike committees, and that so it is we are working on the ground. So that's why we are in coordination with each other, and that's why the movement is successful. Some people say that, well, how long were the strikes going on? We say that yes, until we can win the revolution, we are going to continue with this. One that they will also often ask like people like, how will the revolution end? That the revolution will end. Then for us, it's a revolution that if you will support us, then we're going to give it. It's not just, don't think about it's just me or it's nothing will happen. Then if you are thinking that it's just me and I don't have to do anything, they are doing it, then you are not contributing to that, and that this will take longer and longer.
တမိုးရှိစွာနဲ့ဘလို့မျှဝေပြီးသွားတာနောက်တစ်ဦးအနေနဲ့ကိုစီရစီရလည်းနားထောင်ပြစေဟုတ်မျှဝေပေးပါဦး
ဟုတ်ကဲ့
Thank you. So I don't know much, like I said before. I would like to share. I'm just sharing what I can, and like I'm saying that others have been. I was listening to the others, and it's really great. What I would like, I came from the military, so I would like to I would like to give my message to my brothers in arms. Is that my advice to them is that I think it is important that we need to go beyond that. We need to go beyond that the dark eras. Though we may be cut off. We may be cut off from it. We can find ways to get out of this being isolation. So we need to think about it. We need to be able to see the reality. We should be able to. There are ways we can live, and there's some of the brothers. Some of them they are like us. They share the same belief, and when they are seeing the killings outside, and they are very sad. They are also that since the coup started to happen, and some of them are also that people who have the humanity. There are other officers and non-commissioned officers. They are very sad and they are disappointed as well. And that and they will be sharing each other. This is not good. This is a bad sign for the country. They worry, they concern, but their concern is that for them is that they are not able to join this deck, because I understand that I understand their challenges. That the problem is that because of the leaders, we don't have a right to choose the leader. We have to follow the leader who has been appointed to us. When we have a bad leader, when all of us will be in trouble. It's the same for military. It's the same for any other organizations. And that's the problem here, because we have this bad leadership, and that bad leadership that's happening. Like there are a lot of officers and for soldiers who really are very. But I think it is also important that now that I have left, I was able to live with the ethnic communities. I understand about their ways of thinking. I understand that as well. My name is AASYC. They call me AASYC as well. I don't want to be used. AASYC is the name my parents have given me, but I'm just changing AASYC. I just changing. I'm using my name is AASYC. Using my name, because AASYC is referred to it was the one that the third found that often is known in the history is as the founder of that what AASYC has done. And then there are also a lot of Mon ethnic community in the ARD area as well, that that the Mon people have they used to have their own fortress and their own city. What happened in the third Myanmar Empire, the Mon ethnic communities where there was a security clearance, there was ethnic cleansing against the Mon people. So that has happened, and that so a lot of Mon people are from the ARD area, and that from the Yangon that area, they have to move into it. So that at that time ARD region had turned into like a deserted area. When you look at this historical view, the man I were proud of is that the history we learn is very much one-sided. That's why I don't want to change, because I was named after him. I don't want to change my name as well. That's I'm also that my fathers or my parents and names. I don't want to lose my parents' heritage. Even I have changed my name as well from AASYC to Sia as well. So I think I don't understand much about the federalism or nationalism. I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Burma, but that I learned Buddha as a teacher over real life. Buddha, the focus is on the compassion and empathy. If everybody has compassion and the empathy, the loving kindness, then everything is possible. We need to be compassionate. It's just not to harm itself, and that it is also important to say this is injustice, and that this injustice will also turn back to us, and that so it is also important to help the people who are suffering. Only through this that they will be able to that if we really work on that, focus on that, we'll be able to where it can have a federal.
လက်ရှိခေါင်းဆောင်တွေပေါ့နိုင်ငံရေးဘက်ကခေါင်းဆောင်တွေရောသူတို့ကိုယ်တိုင်ကလည်းအရင်သူတို့ဖြတ်တန်းကြတဲ့အမှောင်ခစ်ကအတွေးခေါ်တွေကိုကျွန်တော်ထားခဲ့ဖို့လိုတယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းကျွန်တော်တို့စစ်သားတွေကိုယ်တိုင်ကလည်းအဲ့လိုပဲကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းအဲ့လိုလုပ်ရမယ်အခုကျွန်တော်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းဒါသူ့ပြင်ပြောင်းလဲကိုတော်လှန်တဲ့ကာလပေါ့နော်အာဏာရှင်တော်လှန်တာဆိုတော့ကိုယ့်ကိုအရင်တော်လှန်မှာကျွန်တော်တို့ရဲ့ mindset တွေကျွန်တော်တို့အတွေးခေါ်တွေတော်လှန်မှာအဲ့လိုမျိုးကာလလိုကျွန်တော်ဒီ society မြန်မာ society တစ်ခုလုံးကိုကျွန်တော်တို့အကုန်ချင်းရမယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ mindset ကအကုန်ချင်းရမယ်ကျွန်တော်များချင်းရမယ်ဒီနောက်တဲ့လာမဲ့ခုလက်ရှိတော်လိုင်းမှာဥဆောင်တဲ့ဒီ GZ လို့ခေါ်တဲ့ generation Z တွေသူတို့ဟာတွေသူတို့ရဲ့အတွေးခေါ်တွေသူတို့ရဲ့ဟာတွေကျွန်တော်အရင်သဘောကျတယ်ဟိုလေးစားတယ်ဘာလို့ဆိုသူတို့အတွေးခေါ်ကအမှန်ပြောအရင်ရှိရကျွန်တော်တို့လူတွေတဲ့မတူသူတို့အတွေးတွေကပို့ပြီးတော့ဟိုသူတို့မှာလူမျိုးတွေမရှိဘူးတော်တော်ကိုများမရှိတာပြီးတော့ဘာသာဆွဲတွေမရှိဘူးဒါအဲ့ဒါကိုကျွန်တော်အရင်သဘောကျတယ်ကျွန်တော်ရှိခဲ့ဗမာတွေကလူမျိုးဆွဲတွေအရင်ရှိတယ်ဗမာဆိုဟိုနောက်ဆုံးကလားကိုမုန်းတဲ့အဆွဲမျိုးတို့ကိုဘာသာလွင်ကျန်တဲ့ဘာသာမကောင်းဆိုတဲ့အတွေးမျိုးတို့ဒါတွေကလုံးဝမရှိတဲ့အတွေးတွေပါကျွန်တော်တို့အဓိကတော့ကျွန်တော်ပြောချင်တာအဲ့ဒါတွေအကုန်လုံးတော်လှန်ရမယ်နောက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့တမတော်သားတွေစစ်သားတွေအနေနဲ့လဲကျွန်တော်ခုလိုလူမျိုးလုပ်နေရလဲသူတို့ကိုကျွန်တော်ပုံကိုရေးရမုန်းတီးလို့ကျွန်တော်လုပ်တာတစ်ခုမှမရှိဘူး ကျွန်တော်ခုတက်ကနေထွက်လာတာလေကျွန်တော်ရဲ့လုပ်ဖို့ကိုင်မဲ့ရဲဘော်ရဲဘက်တွေကိုကျွန်တော်လုံးဝမပုံသေးဘူးလုံးဝလည်းဟိုလုံးမုံတီးမှုလည်းကျွန်တော်မှမရှိဘူးဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်စနစ်ကိုမကြိုက်လို့ကျွန်တော်အုပ်ချုပ်နေတဲ့ပုံစံတွေကိုကျွန်တော်မကြိုက်လို့ကျွန်တော်ထွက်လာခဲ့တာအဲ့အတွက်တကယ်လို့ရှင်းပြကျွန်တော်အခုဒီကျွန်တော်ပြောတာတွေကိုသဘောမတူပါဘူးဆိုကျွန်တော် official account မှာလာပြီးဆဲလို့လည်းရပါတယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်ဘယ်သူပဲမဆိုဘယ်သူကြိုက်တဲ့လူလာဆဲလို့ရပါတယ်လို့အဲ့ဒါလည်းပြောချင်ပါတယ်ဆိုတော့ဆဲတဲ့အလေးချင်းပမာတွေမှာစွဲနေတယ်ကွာဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ခင်ဗျာ
ခုလိုရင်းရင်တက်သားစွာနဲ့ကိုအမြင်ကိုပုံဝင်လင်းလင်းနဲ့မျှဝေပေးသွားတာကိုဇေယကစစ်တပ်ထဲမှာ8 နှစ်နေခဲ့တယ်သူစာရီဖတ်တယ်လေ့လာတယ်နောက်မှန်ကန်တဲ့ဆုံးဖြတ်ချက်ကိုချလို့အခုကျမတို့နဲ့ပြည်သူတွေနဲ့အတူအခုလိုစကားဝိုင်းမှာတူတူပြောကြတယ်ပေါ့နော်ကျမထင်တယ်ကျမတို့ဒီတူတယောက်ချင်းစီက Federal Democracy ကိုဇေယလည်းသူပြောရတာရှိရနော်ကျမတို့နိုင်ငံမှာ Federal Democracy ကိုပြည့်ပြည့်ဝဝမရရှိခဲ့ဘူးဒီမိုကရေစီလို့ပြောရင်လည်းလွန်ခဲ့တဲ့10 နှစ်မှာဒါရွှေရည်စိန်အဆင့်ပဲရှိရဲပြပြမဝလို့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဘယ်လိုမှပြောလို့မရဘူးဆိုတော့ဘာလို့စစ်တပ်ကချမှတ်ထားတဲ့2008အောက်မှာကျွန်တော်တို့ကြင်ကြံခဲ့ရတဲ့ခါကျတော့ကန့်သက်တွေအများကြီးရှိပါတယ်ဒါကိုလည်းပြည်သူတွေသိကြတယ်ပြောရမယ်ဆိုရင်ဒီလိုကာလအတွင်းမှာကျွန်တော်တို့ရုန်းကန်တဲ့လူငယ်တွေကအားနည်းချက်တွေရှိရင်ရှိနေမယ်ကိုစီကပြောရတဲ့အထက်မှာသဘောမတူတာနောက်ဒီမှားနေတာဖြစ်စေတခုခုပေါ့နော်ဒါမှမဟုတ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုတင်ဦးပြောတာဖြစ်စေကျွန်တော်တို့အခုလူငယ်တွေspeaker တွေပြောကြတဲ့အခါမှာကျွန်တော်တို့အချင်းချင်းဖလှယ်ရမယ်ဖြည့်ဆွက်ရမယ်ဒီလိုနည်းနဲ့ရှေ့ဆက်ကြမယ်အခုစကားဝိုင်းကကျွန်တော်တော်တော်လေးကိုဒါတကယ်ကိုအချိန်လဲကောင်းတယ်နောက်ညဝေပေးသွားတာလဲကျွန်တော်တို့လည်းဘူးသူသားတွေနောက်ပြန်ပြီးတတိပေးအတိတတိတွေဖြစ်စေတယ်နော်ကျေးဇူးအများကြီးတင်တဲ့ speaker တယောက်ချင်းစီကိုကျွန်မအဆုံးသတ်အနေနဲ့လေဒီနေ့စကားဝိုင်းမှာ speaker တွေပြောရတဲ့အထက်ကအဓိကကြတဲ့အချက်လေးကျွန်မရေးထားတာလေးကိုမျှဝေချင်တယ်ဖယ်ရှားရမယ့်စိတ်တက်တွေကဘာတွေလဲအစားထိုးရမယ့်စိတ်တက်တွေဘာတွေလဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်မမှတ်တမ်းလေးလုပ်ထားရဲပေါ့နော်သူတို့ပြောရတဲ့အထဲမှာဆိုရင်ခွဲခြားဆက်ဆံအနိုင်ကျင့်မှုတွေအိမ်နေမှာရုံးနေမှာကျောင်းနေမှာတိုင်းရင်းသားမှုလို့ဘာသာစကားအားနေလို့အသားရည်ကညိုနေလို့မဲနေလို့ဝနေလို့ဖြူနေလို့ပိန်နေလို့စသဖြင့်ဒီကျမတို့မွေးကလေးကပြောင်းလဲလို့မရတဲ့အရာတွေပေါ်မှာအခြေခံပြီးတော့ခွဲခြားဆက်ဆံအနိုင်ကျင့်တဲ့အမှုကျင့်တွေကိုကျမတို့ဖယ်ရှားရမယ်ဒါတွေဟာဒီလိုဟာတွေကျမတို့မဖယ်ရှားနိုင်ဘူးဆိုဒီစစ်အုပ်စုဒီအာဏာရှင်တောက်တိုင်ကိုကျမတို့အားပေးနေရတဲ့တူတူပဲနော်နောက်ဖက်စစ်အကြမ်းဖက်စိတ်တက်ကိုကျွန်တော်ဖယ်ရှားရမယ်အခုစစ်တပ်ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့တော်လန်နေရဲဆိုတော့သူတို့ရဲ့ဖက်စစ်အကြမ်းဖက်စိတ်တက်ကိုကျွန်တော်မကြိုက်လို့တော်လန်နေတာဖြစ်တယ်အဲ့တော့အဲ့စိတ်တက်ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့တော်လန်တာဖြစ်တဲ့ကြောင့်ကိုရီမှမရှိဖို့တေချာအောင်လုပ်ရမယ်နောက်တစ်ခါတခင်ကြီးစိတ်တက်လူမျိုးကြီးအုပ်စုလူအုပ်စုအများစုကမှန်တယ်အများစုကဒါဆိုရင်လိုက်ပြီးဒါလုပ်တဲ့စိတ်တက်เนาะဒါကလွယ်တယ်ပေါ့เนาะအများစုကကိုယ်ဘေးပတ်ဝန်းကျင်မှာဒါပဲဆိုရင်လည်းကိုကဒါကိုယ့်ရဲ့ကိုယ်ပိုင်အုံနောက်ကိုအသုံးမပြုပဲအသုံးမချပဲမေးခွန်းမထုတ်ပဲနဲ့တာယာအဲ့လိုနေစည်းချောင်းထဲမှာမျောပါသွားတဲ့စိတ်တက်ကလည်းဒီတော်လန်ရေးမှာအနှောက်အယှက်ဖြစ်စေတယ်ဒါကိုသတိထားရမယ်သခင်ကြီးစိတ်တက်လူမျိုးကြီးစိတ်တက်တွေဒါတွေကလည်းအရှိကစကားပိုင်းတွေမှာလည်းအချိန်ချင်းကျမတို့ထောက်ပြပြောဆိုခဲ့တယ်ဒါတွေကိုကျမတို့ကိုယ်ထဲမှာရှိနေရင်လည်းကိုတော်လန်ရမယ်ပတ်ဝန်းကျင်မှာရှိနေပတ်ဝန်းကျင်ကိုတော်လှန်ရမယ်ဒီလိုနည်းနဲ့ကျွန်တော်နေစဉ်သွားရမယ်နောက်အပြောတာရှိပြီးလက်တွေ့မဟုတ်တဲ့အမြင်ဒါကစစ်တပ်ကိုပြောတာပါစစ်တပ်ဆိုရင်ဒါဒီမိုကရေစီဘလောက်သူတို့ယုံကြည်ပါတယ်ပြောတယ်ဖက်ဒရယ်ဘလောက်လေးထားတယ်တိုင်းရင်းသားတွေကိုဖိတ်ခေါ်ပြီးတော့ဗာလဲအိမ်ဆောက်အစိုးရတွေဖွဲ့တယ်တကယ်လက်တွေ့မှာကြတော့တက်တယ်ဖြတ်တယ်ဖက်ဒရယ်စကားကိုပြောလာရင်အနှစ်သာရမပြည့်တဲ့အရာတွေเนาะဒါတွေကိုပဲအပေါ်ရန်လုတ်ပြနေတာများတယ်ဒါကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ကမကြိုက်ဘူးအဲ့လိုမကြိုက်တဲ့ကြောင့်ကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းအဲ့လိုမဖြစ်အောင်ကြိုးစားရမယ်လူမျိုးဘာသာသာသနာအစွန်းရောက်စိတ်တွေကိုဖယ်ရှားရမယ်ဆိုတာလည်းကျွန်တော်တို့ရှေ့ဒီမှာလည်းပြောခဲ့တယ်နောက်တစ်ခုကအကြောက်တရားဒါဂျူကလည်းထောက်ပြပေးသွားတယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့လူငယ်တွေလူထုတွေကိုနေ့စဉ်နဲ့အမျှတက်ဖြတ်တဲ့ပုံရိပ်တွေကိုလှုပ်ပြီးတော့ဒါအကြောက်တရားကိုသွင်းနေတာဖြစ်တယ်ဒီအကြောက်တရားကိုကျွန်တော်တို့တော်လှန်ရမယ်မှန်တဲ့အရာကိုလုပ်ဖို့เนาะအစားထိုးတဲ့စိတ်သက်ဆိုရင်တော့အရှိမကျမတို့ထက်ထဲဝင်ပြောရတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲလူသားဆန်မှုကိုချင်းစာတရားအတူတကွဆိုတဲ့စိတ်သက်ဒါကကိုတင်ဦးလည်းအများကြီးထက်ထဲဝင်ပြောသွားတယ်เนาะသွေးစည်းညီညွတ်မှုရှိရမယ်ကိုဘေးနားမှာဖြစ်မှာကိုအိမ်ကိုထိမှာကိုကထအော်တာမျိုးမဖြစ်အောင်ကိုနဲ့ဝေးတဲ့တနေရာမှာရှိနေတဲ့နေရာတွေကိုကကရင်မြန်မာအခြေစိုက်နေဆိုရင်အခုလက်ရှိစကိုင်းမှာဘာတွေဖြစ်နေလဲစကိုင်းမှာလူတွေတက်ခံနေရတယ်စကိုင်းတော့လည်းကျမတို့ကအတန်ထုတ်ပေးနိုင်ရမယ်အတန်ထုတ်ရဲရမယ်ကိုနားမှာဖြစ်မှစစ်ပွဲမဟုတ်ဘူးအခြားနေရာမှာဖြစ်နေလဲကိုသွေးချင်းတွေเนาะဒီညီကိုမောင်နှမတော်လန်ပြည်သူတွေတပြေးညီခံစားရတာဖြစ်တော့ကြောင့်အဲ့သွေးစည်းညီညွတ်မှုကအရေးကြီးပါတယ်လေးစားမှုနဲ့အတိမတ်ပြုမှုရှိမှပဲအချင်းချင်းယုံကြည်မှုတည်ဆောက်နိုင်မယ်အဲ့အမှသာလင်ဖက်ဒရယ်ပြည်ထောင်စုကိုအတူတကွဆိုတဲ့ဟာမျိုးတွားလို့ရမယ်ဆိုတော့လည်းကျွန်မနားလည်လိုက်ရပါတယ်နောက်အမှန်တရားအတွက်ရင်းရင်မှုကအကြောက်တရားအတွက်ဒါဖြည့်ဆည်းဖြစ်တယ်เนาะအကြောက်တရားတွေကနေ့စဉ်နဲ့အမျှကျမတို့သွင်းနေတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့တကယ်ကိုယ့်စီမှာအမှန်တရားဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုနားလည်မှုအုံနောက်နဲ့ကိုယ်တိုင်စဉ်းစားမှုရှိတယ်ဆိုဒီရင်းရင်မှုကဖြည့်ဆည်းဖြစ်ပါတယ်ကိုမှားရင်လည်းမှားတို့ဝန်ခံရမယ်တောင်းပန်ရမယ်မသိရင်မသိချောင်းပြောရမယ်ကျမတို့ Federal ဆိုတာလေကျမတို့ပြည်သူတွေအတွက်အသစ်တွေဖြစ်တယ် democracy ဆိုတာလည်းအသက်တွေပဲဒါပေမဲ့ federal လို့ပြောရင်ကျမတို့မှာဆရာတွေရှိပြီးသားဖြစ်တယ်အဲ့ဆရာတွေကတိုင်းရင်းသားတွေဖြစ်တယ်ဗမာမဟုတ်တဲ့ဒီလူမျိုးစုတိုင်းရင်းသားတွေကော်တူးလေလိုမျိုးเนาะဒီArakan နိုင်ငံတော်စသဖြင့်ဒီလိုအကြောင်းအရာတွေကိုပြောနေကြတဲ့သူတွေဟာ Federal ကိုသူတို့ကိုယ်တိုင်ကနေ့စဉ်နဲ့အမျှကြင့်ကြံဖို့စ조사နေခဲ့ပြီးသားသူတွေဖြစ်တယ်သူတို့စီကကျမတို့အများကြီးလေ့လာလို့ရတယ်ကိုမသိရင်မသိသလိုပြောဝင်ခံရေးရမယ်တောင်းပန်ရေးရမယ်နောက်ထုတ်ဖော်ပြောဆိုမှုအလေးစားအတန်ဖိုးထားပြီးတော့ကျမတို့ဒီလက်ရှိမျှဝေပေးသွားတာဆိုဗမာတွေအတွက်တီးခြားဒီဗမာတွေကပြောလာတဲ့ Federal ပြည်ထောင်စုအတွက်မူဝါဒဆိုတာတွေလည်းပေါ်လာဖို့အတွက်ကျမတို့စူးစမ်းရမှာတွေလည်းရှိတယ်နောက်ဒီစစ်တပ်ကအခုပြောနေတဲ့နေ့စဉ်Federal Democracy ဆိုတာတွေကတကယ်ကိုရည်ရတယ်ဆိုတာကဒီကိုစီကပြောသွားသလိုပဲတက်မတော်ဆိုတာကဒါအာဏာရှင်အဖွဲ့အစည်းဖြစ်တယ်ဒါစစ်တပ်တိုင်းကပေါ့ centralized အရန်ဖြစ်တယ်ဒါဗဟိုချုပ်ခံမှုအရန်များတဲ့အုပ်စုတွေဖြစ်တယ်ဒီလိုအုပ်စုတွေက democracy စကားကိုပြောတာတော့ရည်ရတာမရှိဘူးဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့ democracy တော့သူတို့မိသားစုအိမ်တွေမှာလည်းမရှိဘူးတက်ထဲမှာလည်းကြင်ကြံလို့မရအောင်ဒီလိုလူတွေကဘလို့လုပ်ပြီးတော့နိုင်ငံရဲ့ democracy ဥဆောင်နိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာမဖြစ်နိုင်ဘူးဘလို့မှမဖြစ်နိုင်ဘူးသူတို့မှာကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းအတွေ့အကြုံလည်းမရှိဘူးတွေးခေါ်မှုလည်းမရှိသလိုအလေးထားတွေအတွက်လည်းလမ်းကြောင်းတွေမရှိဘူးဒါကြောင့်မို့ကျမတို့ကဒီစစ်တပ်က democracy အရေးပြောလာတယ်ဆိုရင်ဒါကလုံးဝမဖြစ်နိုင်ဘူးအရက်သားတွေဥဆောင်တဲ့ဒီနိုင်ငံရေးကဒါလည်းတကယ်စစ်မှန်တဲ့ Federal Democracy ကိုသွားနိုင်တယ်ဆိုတော့ကျမတို့စက်တိုက်ပြောနေကြတာဖြစ်တယ်လို့ဆိုတော့ကျမတို့အခုဒီနေ့စကားပိုင်းမှာဆိုဒီအကြောင်းအရာလေးကျမအနေနဲ့ကတော့သင်ယူလိုက်ရပါတယ်လေ့လာလိုက်ရပါတယ်မျှဝေပေးကြတဲ့ကျမတို့ speaker တယောက်ချင်းစီကိုကျေးဇူးအများကြီးတင်တယ်ဒီလိုစကားပိုင်းတွေကတဆင့်သိလာရတဲ့အတွေးခေါ်အမြင်တွေကိုကျမတို့ပြည်သူတွေအချင်းချင်းပြန်လည်မျှဝေပေးကြပါပြောကြပါလို့ကျမတောင်းဆိုချင်ပါတယ်ကျမတို့ပြည်သူတွေအားလုံးလုံးဝလုံးကျုံကျမ်းမာမှုဒါဒီကာလမှာတော့အရန်ခက်ခဲတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့ကျမတို့ပြည်သူတွေအတူတကွရှိနေပါတယ်လို့ပြောရင်းနဲ့ဒီနေ့စကားပိုင်းဒီမှာပဲအဆုံးသတ်ပြစေရှင်နောက်တစ်ပတ်သတင်းဝင်နေ10နာရီမှာပြန်လည်ဆုံတွေ့ကြပါမယ်နော်ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်
ရှင်ပြိုင်တဲ့ပွဲမှာအဆုံးသတ်တစ်ခုရှိမယ်နှလုံးသားတွေနဲ့တေချာဆုံးဖြတ်ပါတစ်ခုတော့ရွေးရမယ်အမောင်နဲ့လင်းတိုက်ပွဲမှာကြာဆိုတာမရှိဘူးတရားရဲ့ဘက်ကနေစင်နေပါမယ်Do yes when I rebel out Jesus No so not linga the night as nearby Young Chide the nephew the widow by each otherရှိမယ်နှလုံးသားတွေနဲ့တေချာဆုံးဖြတ်ပါတခုတော့ကြွေရမယ်အမောင်နဲ့လင်းတိုက်ပွဲမှာကြာဆိုတာမရှိဘူးတရားရဲ့ဘက်ကနေစင်နေပါမယ်မောင်သူရဲ့ဆွမ်းအားတွေလောက်ကြည့်စဲမဆုံးတော့လင်းလာတဲ့နိုင်ရစမြဲ